in the space there is thought. And just because we happen to notice this thought and there's a biochemical reaction to that thought, we have ownership. That divine force is in every birth, every creation. It's just not fully awake. Inherent in Paramatma is the power to create. We can start with a couple of questions or comments if you have. If not, we'll jump right into either the video or the... Patangi, I see your hand up. Hello? Nisha, go ahead. Matangi, your hand is also up, so we'll start with Nisha.
What I wanted to, I couldn't join last session, but I heard that on YouTube. So thank you very much for restarting it. Um, what I personally, it was an amazing moment for me with something that you said where we can only control the effort, or that's what in our hand. The action, the results are not in our hand, and that is such a freedom. Logically, I have understood it for a very long time, but something really clicked this time because I always felt the burden of responsibility. I always feel like it's always like, why it's all on me every single time, whether it's work, whether it's family, whatever. But what I realize in that moment is what I can do is what I can do. That's it. Like what comes out of my effort, I don't have to find myself responsible for it because it's not in my control. So whether it's looking for a new job, whatever, because I'm going through so many phases right now in my life, and it's constantly just pulling me down because it's like I'm doing what I can do, but I'm not getting the result because I'm focused on the result. I already have the end goal in my mind. And when it doesn't turn out to be that way, there is a lot of panic in and struggle and resistance in my mind. So that sentence, I really felt like it connected this time for me.
I completely understand what you're saying. I think I even commented something along that line yesterday or last week. I know that, we've all heard this notion of the result of the fruits and so on. But when I read it with the Sangha in the group, whenever we read it, I don't recall when that was discussed, I heard it in a very different way. And you used a few sentences that I want to say out loud for everybody else, which is, I can, quote, do only what I can do. Do means what? Action, action, action. Correct? It's not thinking, it's not planning, it's not strategizing, it's I can only do what I can do. And the second sentence you used is the burden. That's the word that you used. The burden that it took off of me. You also used the word responsibility. Now, I'm not saying to be careless, to do, well, whatever happens, happens anyway, so let me... No, it's not about doing illegal, immoral, unethical things. Remember that in chapter 3, Lord Krishna defines correct action. Correct action, which is in alignment with your nature, which serves you, which serves those around you, and so on and so forth. Actions that are in offering to something higher, right? In line with your dharma, in your responsibilities and duties. When you choose actions along those lines, you are in correct action. You can do only what you can do. Now you don't have to beat yourself up. I should have, would have, could have is over. Whatever the results are, thank you, God. It's your prasad, it's your grace, it's your blessing. This somehow will take me to my higher, greater good also. That is why this has happened. So then you're unburdened, to your point, to use your words. And this is amazing amount of freedom. You become more simple, more innocent, more subtle, sahaj. You know, it's a huge thing. I think that I'm repeating myself because we've said it so many times probably, but it's something that's really worth emphasizing, which is that I do correct action based on the descriptions given by Lord Krishna in chapter 3. I can do only what I can do. And then I don't need to do, 52 pickup. Look back and say, I should have, I could have, I would have, I'm no good, why didn't I do that, I should have done better, because then we beat ourselves up. No. And you say, this is your prasad. I could do what I could do. What I got is your prasad. I cannot see right now why it's good for me. I cannot see how this is the thing to do. And I am attached to what I want, but this is what you've given me. This is your choice. This is where it becomes prasad. Do you remember? That was in chapter 3. It's now being offered. And I gave some ridiculous example, like when you have prasad offering, right? And there's almonds and apples, and somebody puts prunes in it, and they give you prune, and everybody else gets some delicious mithai. You don't say eek to the prasad. Do you remember I used some example like that? You say it's prasad. And whatever we get, we happily hold it, and as soon as we can, we eat it. Means we embrace it. This is how it is. There is gratitude, honor, respect for it. Then a new moment can come. Then what happens is clarity can dawn in us to make a different choice, to take different set of actions. Generally, the regret, the would have, should have, could have, burns up our life force. So when we have to keep going to achieve the result or to move towards the goal that we had planned, we've already eaten away some of our own life force. We're beating ourselves up. Are you clear what I'm saying? Just follow it through, because that's what happens. It didn't work out the way I wanted, and I couldn't, and I don't know. Fear grows, anxiety grows. You slow down in your action, you don't have the same level of vitality and vigor, and we put vikalp in our own action. I don't know, maybe I shouldn't have, maybe I could have done that, hey, the result's not in your hand, so go for it, keep going for it. And then that doesn't move. Second thing, in fact, what happens, what I have really observed, and what happens, and if you observe Gurudev, you'll see it's true, somehow the door automatically opens, the grace or the light shines forth, and the next action, the one that will take you, naturally opens without you sticking your head into it. Without all the, is this right? I need to talk to someone. And then you call up some senior art of living teacher. They don't know anything. Don't call them. Just let this wake up in you. Yeah, I'm joking with you, but you understand what I'm saying. The doors naturally open. The less the mind is in the past or the future, would have, could have, should have, the less we're beating ourselves up, the less we're blaming us or someone else, the more the mind is in alignment with the grace, with the light, with the Guru Tattva, with the Guru itself. And that opens the door for a new set of ideas and a new set of actions. Are you with me? So, Nisha, it's a great sharing from chapter 3. I know that you've all heard it before, but I just think that this point couldn't be said enough, So, okay. That was it. Any other hand up?
Can I share, Didi, something?
Yeah, go ahead.
So I did not attend the last week's session. Thank you for the recording, Pramod. It's really very grateful. For me, the aha moment was when you spoke about Guru Parampara. As a teacher, you are sitting in that lineage, your little dot somewhere. That was so powerful. I mean, I felt so good about it.
Yeah, and see, the other thing is we often understand parampara to mean a tradition. Yes or no?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we understand the word parampara to mean a tradition, but it's much bigger than that. Parampara is the source, the truth as is transferred from one to another. It's not tradition as in a ritual or a rule or customs, or because this is my son and I've been with this group of people. It's not like a sorority in that sense. Are you hearing me? That's not it. When Lord Krishna says dharma is lost, it's not that, there's suddenly more violence in the world and greed increases and opportunism increases. That's not what is being said. Dharma is lost. What is lost is, remember I told you, the speaker is at a different level than the listener. Correct? Even right now, I mean to say something. Words limit me in terms of trying to express what I want to say, and then you listen to it through your own filter. We click somewhere, and yet we are very far apart. Upanishad. Correct? And we're hearing from Lord Krishna, okay, and Gurudev is hearing, and then I'm listening to that, and such a distance between the consciousness levels, correct? Dharma is lost means the source, the purity of the knowledge at some point starts to get diluted, not because the knowledge changes, but because the listener's interpretation, understanding, application, etc. changes. And when the knowledge starts to grow lesser and lesser and lesser from its essence, that is what we call loss of dharma. We're not talking crime and politics and economy, but naturally those things are going to deteriorate if the essence of what is truth has already deteriorated. Don't you see the connection? But it's important to understand that. So a lineage is like, I am not my mother and father, yet I am my mother and father. Correct? I am like my grandmother and grandfather also. It's the essence, the genetics is the lineage. Can you see what I'm saying to you? It's more than, this tradition, they do this, they don't do that, that kind of thing. The essence. So, yes, and as, it's not just teachers, just please know, as volunteers, as individuals who are somehow agreeing to put their stick under Govardhan mountain, under Krishna's mountain. Lord Krishna is holding up the mountain. It's pouring rain, and all the gopas in the town and everybody goes under it. But they think, oh my God. So they stick their danda underneath it, thinking they're helping. That's all of us. But that means somewhere in that tradition, the Sudarshan Kriya, the knowledge, the hollow and empty, all of that, the essence, the genetics of it, if you will, is being passed. And we are in that flow of life. See, the Ganga originates somewhere, correct? Somewhere up there it originates. And at some point it ends up in the ocean. Is there a lineage there? Yes or no? Yes or no? See, you're dumbfounded because you're seeing lineage as tradition still. It originated, the source. It's true, it is still the source, but then some other thing trickled into it, some other river came into it, maybe some other water from some other place, and then it goes back to the ocean. Are you following what I'm saying to you? Do you get it? So in that sense, it's a tradition, if you want to use that word. Parampara actually, I don't think has an English word for it. The closest might be lineage. But even then, lineage, people become very literal about it, because then they think lineage is related to biochemistry, biology. Okay, thank you, Rekha. Priten, go ahead, please.
Yes, good morning, ma'am. So, question was ki we said discuss that or whatever the results are in not in our hand. So, doesn't this demotivates us that what maybe the results may be bad sometimes or even sometimes good? So, shouldn't we be stuck in that ki what will happen if results are bad though my efforts are 100%?
Well, if the results are bad, what would be the thing to do?
Move on.
Move on, and then do what?
Mm,
You
then
can, you
find
can
out
get
what
back on the
went
horse
wrong.
and do more different actions, or you can let the goal go. You only have these two options in life. But sitting there brooding about it, we make it into an option, but it is not an option. You know, I'm trying to find a rug in my home. This year my focus is to kind of set it up a little bit. I think I've got the very first rug and the situation I got, it was really perfect. The problem was the rug, the moment you go to vacuum it, what's underneath it comes up. It was a reversible one. So on the one hand, it was perfect. On the other hand, the results, pretend to use your words, were bad. So now I have two choices. Keep the rug and let it tather, or return it. Correct? But to sit there and saying, oh, this rug shouldn't do that. Why is it doing that? It shouldn't have. I mean, it's not supposed to. It's a brand new rug. This would get me nowhere. So I returned them. Then I tried another set of rugs. Was another disaster because the two don't go together. You know, the light changes and the color changes. So okay, back to the drawing board, because the goal is peace and quiet and harmony, so that my mind doesn't every day come down and say, what's with this rug? I have two options. Either stop doing that, accept the rug, or keep going until the next thing comes with some peace of mind. Yes, it's time. Yes, it's effort. Yes, it's energy. But I have the right to action, not to the result. So today I went again, finally I went out. I came back thinking this is going to work. I got little swatches. They look gray. They're supposed to be tan, but here it looks gray. Okay. I'm giving you the most ridiculous example, but we do this in everything in our life, and we have a choice in everything. Sometimes things just click into place. Buy dining chairs, boom, you go in, you see it at the door, you buy it, you leave, and it fits perfectly. The rest, you don't know. So you have to just keep going. If you want, you have a right to act. That's it. And when it comes, it comes. Are you with me? Don't you find that
Yes,
freeing somehow? Don't you find the mind feels like, okay, I mean, what the heck? I don't need to beat myself up for stuff. I just need to keep acting. Pretend. Study more if you need to. Get a tutor if you need to. Get a different set of books if you need to. Go search online if you need to. Find a study buddy if you need to. You see? But don't get, I tried a buddy, it didn't work. See, I tried 3 things, it didn't work. No, if I did that, I would have no rug in here. Or something that looks black because it matches. What? I don't know. Follow me? You're so
I mean, you
serious.
cannot live in the fear that whatever the results may be. So just
Well,
need
you
to work.
can. People do. If you want to, you can live in the fear of it. But why you want to? देख तू कितना छोटा है सी you don't take this so seriously beta. You have your whole life in front of you. You study, you give your best, and you trust
Yes,
everything will be great. Okay? Everything will be great. I promise you
sure.
it will be great.
Yes. Thank
Yes. Mala, I think you're going to start at 4, correct? Yes. Go ahead, please.
अर्जुन उवाच अपरं भवतो जन्म परं जन्म विवस्वतः कथम् एतद्विजानीयाम् त्वमादौ प्रोक्तवानिति.
Arjuna said, you are of recent origin, while the birth of Vivishwan dates back to remote antiquity. How then am I to believe that you imparted this yoga at the beginning of creation? You remember the first verse, right? When Lord Krishna said, I gave this knowledge to Vivishwan, who gave it to his son, who gave it to Manu, and so on. right? So Arjun is a little stunned, but you are here the same time I am. And Manu, Vivashwan, etc., they existed such a long time ago. How is it possible? So what is Arjun? I think I already mentioned it the last time. This is a sign that Arjun is still listening to the knowledge from his original plight. Are you getting me? Arjun is still listening for that one thing. Oh my God, I don't want to kill these people. My uncle, my grandfather, my mother, whatever, whoever is in front of me, these are my kin and kin, my friends, my family, my dear ones. I want my kingdom. I want to get revenge, but I don't want to have to kill my own people for it. So he is still in body consciousness. Even though chapter 2, Bhagwan, Lord Krishna, went through the highest of knowledge, saying, you are not your body, you are not your thoughts, these people are not their bodies. Everyone is what? Sat, Chit, Ananda. You are vibration, you are consciousness, you are intelligence. They are all. It is all one. You, I, them, we are all one. He's even said, see, we've had many births before, you just don't remember them. I happen to remember them. You've had so many bodies. Lord Krishna had said, like taking off our clothes, we take off our body in time and take on a new pair of clothes, a new body. You remember all of that, right? That's been discussed. But still, Arjun's question is, well, how can it be that you are here now? You are my contemporary, and Vivashwan was from such a long time ago. Even though Lord Krishna in the first 1-2 verses has already identified himself as Paramatma, as the highest of the self. But that's not, this is what really is to be taken away, and naturally, his question is like ours. No, we would be doing the same thing. What do you mean? You did that? What? But you're here now. How could you have done that then? Notice how much Arjun really represents our mind. His battlefield is out there in Kurukshetra, and our battlefield is in our life, in our mind, struggling with our do's and don'ts and responsibilities and wants and desires. Right? He has what he wants and he has what he doesn't want. Are you with me? Okay. Next.
श्रीभगवानुवाच बहूनि मे व्यतीतानि जन्मानि तव चार्जुन तान्यहं वेद सर्वाणि न त्वं वेत्थ परन्तप.
Sri Bhagwan said, Arjuna, you and I have passed through many births. I remember them all. You do not remember, O chastier of foes. It's self-explanatory, right? We've discussed this. Continue.
अजोऽपि सन्नव्ययात्मा भूतानामीश्वरोऽपि सन् प्रकृतिं स्वामधिष्ठाय सम्भवाम्यात्ममायया.
Through birthless and immortal and the Lord of all beings, I manifest myself through my own Yogmaya, divine potency, keeping my nature, Prakriti, under control. Though birthless and immortal and the Lord of all beings, Lord Krishna is saying, I am birthless, deathless. I have never had a birth. I have never died, even though I am the Lord of all beings, not just humans, not just Indian, not just Chinese, not all beings, trees, plants, creatures, reptiles, Scorpios, you name it. Though birthless and immortal and the Lord of all beings, I manifest myself through my own divine potency, keeping my nature under control, my Prakriti under control. This is absolutely saying to Arjuna, I am Param Atma, the highest of the highest, that is who I am. It's a clear declaration to Arjuna. See, even then, how many times we have heard whatever Gurudev has said, but here we are, sitting to need in TRM, asking dumbest of questions, going, oh, yes, it's very difficult because we measure only what we see, touch, and feel. Even though our life experiences, there's so much more to life than what I see, touch, and feel. You see the flower, you cannot see the fragrance. But then you will say, yes, but I smell it. Yes, it's true. But it's more subtle than what you see. Correct? We cannot hear certain things, but dogs can hear certain things. That doesn't mean the sound is not there. It's there. We just don't hear it. Senses do not capture everything. They have a limited capacity to, quote, enjoy. Have you not heard Gurudev say that? But we don't even understand what that sentence means. Enjoy means, oh, I can only listen to so much music before my ear says, oh, enough. No, limited capacity to enjoy. What is an ear meant for? Listening. It cannot listen to all the sounds. It can listen to some sounds. It has a limited capacity. What is eyes for? Oh, we think it means, limited capacity to enjoy. So it means eyes can only see so much beauty and then you don't enjoy it anymore. That's true also. But it also means something more than that. Eyes are for sight, but we cannot see everything. We cannot see in the dark, but a bat can see in the dark. Capacity of sight is limited, but we think we have it all. Isn't it? So, through my own power, divine potency, inherent in Paramatma is the power to create. See, this we call, when the power to create is expressed, then we call it a particular Deva. Inherent in Paramatma is the power to preserve, to maintain what it creates. When that power is used, we call it Vishnu. Are you listening to me? Divine potency, when that same energy transforms, changes, then that power, that energy, because it's divine, that Deva is called Maheshwara. Are you with me? It's like bread, pasta, pizza. It's all flour. But when it's shaped in a round dish with cheese on it, we call it pizza dough. And when it's little noodles, we call it noodles. When it's a square thing, that same flour with water and whatnot, we call it bread. It's the same flour. Like that, when that divine consciousness has an impulse, naturally, when the knowledge is going down, naturally the impulse arises and creation begins. Form is taken. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? I'm jumping ahead, but partly because we just heard Gurudev speak. Through Yoga Maya, it's by my own will. And it's not a plan. Divine is not said to be strategic. Innocence, right? Shiva, Bola. In innocence. Just like when you're sleeping, forget sleeping. Do you daydream sometimes when you're awake? Even with eyes open or maybe eyes closed. Don't you have daydreams? You'll have to raise your hand, yes or no. Do you notice that during your daydream, sometimes it is you trying to move the daydream in a particular direction? But it doesn't go that way. Yes or no? Have you had this experience? Yes. See all the hands. Naturally, you're sitting there and you somehow the consciousness has let go, the mind is doing its thing, and you're slightly watching it. Are you with me still? Then you notice that the mind develops the daydream by itself without any interference from you. Does it not? That's what I mean by the divine is not sitting there plotting something. Oh, I think now I will create a piku, and then on this day and this time I'll make piku get in touch with Pramod. And it's not like that. It's a daydream that is arising and unfolding, just like when you daydream and it arises and it unfolds, and before you know it, you have become, like you've established a home on the moon. Correct? You suddenly have 10 homes and one of them is on the moon. And it's just unfolding. It's not strategic. Like that, the potency to create is in the divine itself. And to maintain. That's why Lord Krishna comes, right? The moment a body is taken, it's what? To preserve the knowledge and to revive the knowledge and to re-enliven the knowledge. This is the most overt statement of who Lord Krishna is. Don't you see? It's dumbfounding, no? Like, continue.
Yada yada hi dharmasya.
Wait a second. This last sentence is very, very important. Not only by my own divine potency, I manifest myself, keeping my nature under control. Means Sat, Chit, Anand never disappears. That stays as is. The essence, the source stays as is. Remember the first verse of chapter 4. When we discussed it, we spoke about how the knowledge is and has always been and will always be. It does not evolve. It does not change. Gurudev was, so I'm jumping the gun, I guess, but that was verse 9 or 10 when he was speaking about science a little bit ago. Remember, if you think about it, just like I said in the very first verse discussion of chapter 4, it cannot evolve knowledge. Knowledge is what it is. It gets diluted. It gets misinterpreted in time, misapplied in time, but the essence is the essence. And every tradition, if you read, whether it's Judaism, Christianity, Buddhism, whatever, it all says the same thing, that there is this unseen true self, Sat Chit Anand, they say it in their own way, whether it's we're vibration or we're just nothingness or etc. Correct? Now look at science. We look for science as the truth, but science is not a statement, it's a hypothesis. Really, I want you to think about this. Someone has a hypothesis, Newtonian theory of particle. He had a hypothesis, and he worked out the mathematics to formulate that idea. And then what happens? Everybody, including himself, tries to disprove that hypothesis. Disprove. And until it's disproven, everybody believes there is particle theory. And that's all there is. Are you with me? But then Einstein comes along and he says, oh no, it's not a particle theory. And he goes into photons, and somebody else goes into quantum mechanics and wave theory and so on and so forth. Science is a hypothesis. And at some point, people start to hold on to it. If they grab onto it and don't evolve, it becomes fanatic, religious. what Gurudev was speaking about. But in time, science disproves itself, so a new hypothesis is developed. Correct? That is not the case in the knowledge. Underlying reality of everything, every creature, every life is existence, consciousness, bliss, non-changing intelligence. That is a loving force. That is the hypothesis. Nobody has been able to disprove it. How do we know? Because we keep seeing everything as changing, and the only reference point, it has to be non-changing. There is no other way to show that. Also, consciousness is not localized. Correct? Definition of divine or God is what? Omniscient, omnipotent, and omniscient, potent, and
Present.
omnipresent. Correct? Now, just think about yourself. Remember the part 1 course used to have this exercise. Who are you? Where are you? Do you remember that exercise? So forget about who are you for right now. Whoever the heck you think you are or I am, where are you? Where are you? Seriously. Okay, like maybe you would answer the place where you're sitting. In Los Angeles, in Santa Monica, in Northern California, in Sacramento, in Houston, in Panama, wherever. Is that where you are? Do you, when you say where, do you say I'm in Los Angeles? Do you do that ever? When you point to yourself in terms of locality, where are you? Where do you point to? You point this way, don't you? So where here are you? Do you notice that you often go, me? You point to your head area, yes or no? Within your body, let's say this is Los Angeles, this is Santa Monica, the head. Are you with me? Where are you in your body? That's a question for you. Are you from head to toe? You don't look at yourself that way. Very rarely do you think of yourself being in your toe. You address your toe and your knee as a piece of your body. But when you think of me in my body, you think here. Your head. Where are you in your body? Just think, have you ever thought about that? Where are you? Oh, I'm in my knee, and in here, and here, and in my fingertip. Do you ever do that? Don't you notice that internally in our own mind, our experience is we treat certain parts away from the head as parts of a body, not as self. Only in relation to a conversation to another body, we say, I am here. But within your own locality of yourself, you're sitting there, you're not even conscious of your toe as you. It's just something hanging on the floor. Are you with me? Where are you? You think you're in your head. Is there like a little person in your head? Let's assume we're all in our own individual head. Is there, if you cut it open, is there a little room where... Don't be in a hurry to say we are everywhere. I want you to feel it as I'm talking about it. Why am I talking about it so much? Because somewhere we go, oh my God, it's true. Yeah, I think I'm here, but where? There's a little chamber somewhere. If you crack your skull open, it's like a coconut, hard part, And then you look inside, there's some gray matter, some nerves, some fatty fluid. Where are you? Are you aware that I'm talking about you right now? Where are you? Who are you? See, your attention is you, correct? Yes or no? You have to think about this. Are you listening to me? What? Who is listening to me? Don't you see? It's your attention. Energy, consciousness is what is listening, and it's generating some thought, and it's illuminating the thought, and you think the thought is you. But if I'm sitting here and I hear the cars outside, how did I hear? I'm here, my ears are here, but I hear the cars. Okay, the sound travel, but I don't always hear the sound. So when I go out, then I hear the sound. What goes out? Awareness. Are you bored or are you stunned? Or like processing? Which one?
Processing.
You have to get like really like, oh, what? That is good. That is worth something. Otherwise, good concepts. I want you to hear this, okay? There are many things that are in your room or in front of you, or many sounds, but you hear them sometimes and you don't. The ears are open, eyes are open, right? You sometimes smell things, sometimes you don't. But the moment your awareness, you are the awareness that goes out, you go, oh, truck going by. Oh, this one moved. Oh, Alex is moving his head. Oh, Kunjal is moving. All that comes in. Awareness, don't you see? It's awareness. Oh, Vicky's sitting like this. Oh, Rajshree just duplicated that. Oh, Pramodi's shawls. This is all awareness. This is awareness. Who is aware? Don't be quick to look for an answer, but you should want from time to time. Like you have to close your eyes and you say, okay, I see my body. I see my body. I close my eyes. But where am I in my body? I don't have... This is why we do Yog Nidra, because you have to draw your awareness that to your toe and your knee and your ankle and your hip and your buttocks and your stomach and your small intestine, because we're not in our body. That's why it's disease 90% of the time. We're not in our body. It's not, if you get a little prick at the tip of your toe, the whole body goes, ouch. That's when you know you're in your whole body. Awareness, consciousness, you experience it. It's a tiny cell, one prick. You get your blood drawn, one prick, and you feel it. It's not just that little cell. Feel. You have to be spread out in your whole body to feel it. But we walk around thinking I'm here somewhere in this ridiculous chamber. We don't even say I. We say me. We go here. We don't even do this. Only when there's a sense of love or connection, then we talk from here. But most of the time, I don't think so. I have to, let me think. Inherent, that potency, that power is never lost, keeping my nature intact. And I'm jumping ahead a little from where we are, but Gurudev said that divine force is in every birth, every creation. It's just not fully awake. I'm still talking about this. I know that it seems like I'm not, but Paramatma is talking here, and that's what he's saying. You know? Okay. Well, we won't get to 10 today, okay? We'll stop here. Let's close our eyes. We'll officially close, and then we'll stay back for a few questions for anyone who has, okay? Eyes closed. And let's take a nice long breath in. Breathe in as long as you can. Big breath. And let it go. And just recognize the sounds in the environment. Yes, the ears are hearing the sound, but the recognition of the sound and that you're listening to it, who is that? Feel your body. Wherever you're sitting, the contact of that chair, your hips and buttocks. Awareness that you are drops and experiences the contact of the body and the chair. Chair is different from the body. Body is different from you. Some thoughts are coming and going. Recognize the thoughts. Observe the thoughts. Who is aware of the thoughts? Who's asking the question? Take a breath in and let it go. Jai Gurudev. Okay, it's 7:20. Those who need to go, it's okay. If you have a couple questions, I'll stay here for one or two questions. Pradeep.
You mentioned about, let's say, a sound or something is going on around us, and we realize its existence because we put our awareness or energy behind it, or whatever it is called.
Do we put it, or does it get pulled by itself? It lands somewhere.
Sometimes because we don't realize, it's like, but there are times where I don't realize what is going on. But but there are times we put it. Both.
Huh? Wait. Let's explore this. I love this kind of stuff. Like when you're reading for an exam or for whatever, I don't know, when you have to set up your computer and you have to read. I go to Amit, but you guys must have to read things, right? You notice you're reading and your attention pops away. Does it not by itself?
Yes, it does.
Correct? And then somehow by itself you remember, oh, you were reading.
Hmm. Hmm.
You do something to remind yourself that you were reading, yes or no?
Yes, we bring our awareness back into what we were
No.
doing.
But the thought that you are reading comes before you bring your awareness. You move
Okay.
towards there.
So the thought happens, which means we are in the state of the mind now, because
Yes,
mind itself is a thought. Then we are able to do this thing. Okay.
that's
Which,
right.
okay.
That's right.
Which means the sound there triggered a thought in our head, whatever in our mind, whatever it is. And then we reacted to that thought. And we said we identified with that thought. And that's why we started doing all of this. So,
But if you get focused in on a couple of thoughts,
mhm,
then the sound that's way over there or somebody that's moving around near you, you don't notice,
correct.
correct? But if you just relax that state, then you can still be reading and still hear what's going on out there. Yes or no?
Yes, this has happened multiple times. Yes.
Yes. So how? Who are we? We just kind of go along with it like it's a machine that's doing it, but and we feel such pressure to do certain things. Like I often use this example. You have children and parents, they're sitting at the table, and the parents will keep saying, sit still, focus, pay attention. If that child would turn around and say, okay, mom, you show me how, and I'll do it. Game over. Because even the dad, while he's eating, his mind goes off somewhere. And his wife is talking to him, then his mind goes off even more. Yes? And then the wife says, hey, pay attention. And then if he says, okay, you show me how. When she's sitting there watching sports with him, she gets on her phone and whatever, and then the mind goes. I'm telling you, life has a flow that it's running by itself, but somehow because those things come so quickly, we create cause and effect.
Hmm, hmm, hmm.
Life is just wave after wave in the ocean. The ocean is not calculating its ripples and the waves and the size and left and right. The current is there. Oh, current is because hot water. It's all a phenomenon linked. In the space there is thought. And just because we happen to notice this thought and there's a biochemical reaction to that thought, we have ownership. I don't want you to hear this just conceptually. You have to hear it with a thing that goes, oh, my God. And then it should kind of stick to you for a few minutes after, because that rattles everything up. That gets us out of a very localized existence. We really think we live somewhere in here. And the rest of it is it's like a giant house where most people don't use, 90% of it. There's a giant house here, 5'7" but mostly this little one chamber is used. The rest is autopilot. And take that to a bigger, broader level, In the space called Pradeep, you could call it Krishna, you could call it Atman, you could call it Paramatma, all this is happening. In a space called the ocean, all the activity in the ocean is happening, but the little fish can't see the big ocean. It can only see the fish next to it, or the school of fish if you really look. And then, we're Chinese fish and we're Japanese fish and we're, and everybody's struggling with their little school fish. But there's a whole ocean that's moving the fish. It's true the fish move within the ocean, but the ocean is actually moving the whole of the thing. Don't you see what I'm saying? And if you see that, if you hear that, deeply, then something relaxes, something explodes, and something says, okay, I don't, whatever your wish. then you let life come and you keep moving. It's an amazing gift to be hearing this, discussing this, and having a little bit of, look, truth we recognize, don't we? Whatever we're discussing, whatever we're reading, something in us says, oh yes. We recognize. Why? Because it's our nature. What is foreign to us, we will say, what? Put a computer or something in what? It's not my nature. It's not our nature. Truth, the most esoteric thing. Oh, through his own yoga maya, he manifests himself. We go, wow. What do you mean, wow? Because something resonates to it. Because we, within our own potency, we manifest our own daydreams and things like that. That's why we say, oh, wow. From that higher place, we're doing exactly what Lord Krishna is talking about. But we have a limited, localized identity. He does not. Pushpinder, go ahead, please.
I had a question on the same thing, energy that we were talking about. I had a lot of aha moments today. I think it was the first time I realized that I'm not the body. Like, actually had an experience that, oh, where am I? It was very powerful. When you were answering, I don't know who you were answering, but I had this thought that we cause and effect when we talk about karma. So is it that, that energy that I am, whatever is illuminating the thoughts that are there. So it's that particular thoughts, particular patterns. My awareness lands on them more. Like it just lands and I have to purposely bring it, like, I'm talking about like desires, cravings. So when that awareness comes, is that why the cause and effect happens? And like, how do we take care of that?
Yes. So our identity, we're jumping the gun. I think that was verse 9 or so, when Lord Krishna says, when attachment, craving, etc. is gone, then remember that, we'll get to that verse. But yes, our own tendencies, our our own desires, wishes, karma, directs the thoughts. Where do thoughts come from? In their origin, it's pure intentionality. But as they rise and come to the surface of the mind, surface of the expression of consciousness, it hits on our own impressions, our own desires. So it gets colored. It's no longer pure intentionality. It's now colored. Do you understand what I mean? Like a bubble by itself, just the water, it's pure water, clear. But then if it goes through like red water, blue water, then that water looks colored. Do you understand? That's just our impressions. And again and again and again, one brings the awareness back to, well, wait a second. There's more than this. Did I really generate this thought? A thought has arisen. Only after that you identify it. So don't be upset. Why do I have these bad thoughts? Thoughts came from somewhere by themselves. You, that you identify yourself to be, is not in charge of creating thoughts. It is true, you, the impressions and all of that, directs the flow of thought, but you're not sitting there saying, now I'm going to have a thought, aggressive, violent, disturbing thought. No, it comes. And it comes because we have forgotten our nature as pure energy, vibration. The more you hold on, the more solid you feel your body is. Are you getting me? I think this is more than fascinating if you absorb it. Not like, oh, interesting, but if you absorb it and you go, my God. To your point, Kushpinder, like, oh, yeah, I'm a bit more than my body. Yeah. What am I? I may not know, but where the heck am I really? Where am I? When you go to sleep, you're not thinking the body's going to go to sleep. You're trying to get this to go to sleep. You. What are you, in a cubicle up here somewhere? They're just a bunch of thoughts. Like the liver does its thing, the intestines move some waste along, the head goes wah, 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 wah. Why isn't that waste? Just like the rest. You blow your nose, it's waste. You blow out some thoughts, oh, it's me. No. It's just waste. It's called thought. It's subtle waste. It's like thick mucus versus less thick mucus. It's not you. And you have to remember, okay, thoughts come, okay. Maybe it's a bad day. Maybe the weather is bad. Maybe the company around you is bad. Plus our own vasana. But a vasana is not you. Is your vasana you? Let's say I have a terrible vasana. I'm an alcoholic. I've not had alcohol before, but I'm an alcoholic. Is the alcoholism me? Is the addiction to alcohol me?
No, you're identifying with it.
That's right. And my mom who loves me will say, Beta, it's okay. You're not an alcoholic. See, you're such a good girl. See, you're a lawyer also. See, you're this. You let the alcohol go. It's a separate thing. But I've become identified to it. So I go there and say, hi, I'm Rajshree Patel and I'm an alcoholic. I'm not. I've become identified to it. Same way, I'm Rajshree Patel, I'm a lawyer. I haven't done law for 40 years. But if I was identified everywhere I go, I'm a lawyer, I'm a lawyer. Well, your briefcase becomes your appendix at some point. And it continues with everything. You see, sometimes you go on Instagram, I find it insane. Everybody's walking around, boobs out to here, butt out to there. Who walks around like this in life? And everybody wants to be that. But who goes to work like this? Can you tell me? Or parents, or goes to bed like that? And every girl, everybody wants that. Every boy, it's insane. I'm not against it, but if you get identified to it, that's it the whole time. And the way they walk, I'm like, how is that possible? It doesn't make any sense. Don't get me wrong. I like fabrics. I like fashion. I enjoy it. But this thing, that's me. That's me. They're boobs, people. Just like you're not your liver, you're not your boobs. And your tutu. You can't hardly see it. It's so far away from the body, you can't see it. But you're locked into it. It doesn't make sense. But that we can find funny because we maybe see ourselves beyond it. But wherever we're stuck, it's equally ridiculous is the point I'm trying to make, you see? It's equally ridiculous that we do that. And if we didn't do that, the less we do that, the more freedom we have internally, but more importantly, the more grace, the power of clarity and intuition and correct action and interrelating and bonding comes from the essence. The more with ease we move through life and we embrace what we call up or down. Okay. Okay. Jai Gurudev. See you next week. Bye-bye.